Woe to you, O earth and sea.
It's the Hop Nation
USA Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Hop Nation USA podcast. I am your host, Adam. I am glad that you are here with us. Also with me is Steve.
Hello.
He is happy to be here.
Yes.
And as you can tell, we're in a nice quiet space. We are live on location. Once again, Spicy Boy Summer Revenge Tour rolls right along. We are here at Necromancer Brewing here in the North Hills right on Babcock Boulevard.
Hell yeah.
What noise was that?
It was like a hell yeah, but with like a throat frog.
Just like agita thrown in there.
Ribbit.
Well, too bad. I'm not giving you a second take on that one.
That's cool. Moving on.
Moving on. So since we are here live on location here at Necromancer, we didn't just break in and decided to record here. We were invited. So that means we have ourselves a guest. We have Lauren, the head brewer. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming on. Obviously, Necromancer is one of the newer breweries in the Pittsburgh area.
Yes.
And we're doing this kind of double up of where we talk to somebody new and talk to somebody old in the Pittsburgh area. You're our new for September. Woo-hoo. So, but we've previously talked about Necromancer, leading up to your opening, and we've also featured your Black IPA, which was one of my favorite beers of the summer.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
we're very excited to talk about the what else you have to offer. You have a lot going on here, but let's start with the beers that you poured up for us to begin with. I'll let you introduce the beer.
Yeah.
And what we got.
This is our ESB. It's a pretty standard ESB. With the traditional styles, I try to go pretty traditional with the brewing, since we are doing the whole resurrecting dead styles, and then we really want to kind of hold true to the traditional styles. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I'm not an avid ESB drinker. I'll drink them if they're made like this, because that's how I like it, which is a little less on the sweet side, a little more balanced with the hops. Super caramel. Makes you want to eat a big basket of fries.
Nice. And that is the beauty of being the head brewer. You make it how you want it.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's one of the perks, because I'm like, I like it like this. Let's just do that. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this beer. It turned out really good.
I assume that this is one of the first ESBs that Necromancer has made, or if not the first.
It is the first ESB that Necromancer has made, which I think, if we have our way, might not be the last.
Oh, all right.
It's a company favorite.
Excellent.
So far. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that I think we're going to have a lot of on this show, is a lot of beers that we don't feature on the show at all, if ever, or rarely.
Rarely. We had an ESB, I think, from Insurrection, or at very least Katie.
Okay.
Katie had one.
Was that during one of the Zoom episodes?
Yeah, during one of the Zoom episodes.
All right.
But I think, we've had few and far between ESBs, although I do like them in kind of my own time.
I get it.
I drank a lot of Fullers. Mm-hmm. And then Heavy Seas.
Yes.
Actually had an ESB for a long time that I drank a lot of. But,
that's a brewery I need to get back into.
Yeah, you don't
Heavy
see
Seas.
I feel like we don't see them too much.
No, and I don't know why that is.
Yeah, they blew up big time, and then all of a sudden,
I
haven't seen them that much.
And maybe they just lost distribution in Pittsburgh, but I feel like
maybe.
I feel like I only see them at JR's, and it's only their anniversary beer that comes in. So I don't know. But looking at this one, deep brown caramelly, very cloudy all the way through, and on the nose.
Guess what?
A lot of caramel. Yeah,
a lot of caramel.
Caramel malt.
Yeah, as it should be.
So, just out of curiosity, do you have any numbers handy in terms of ABV, IBUs, or anything like that?
Oh man, you guys are making me go off the top of my head.
Oh yeah,
like 30, 40 beers in my head. This is, I think, 5.5, and it's towards the upper end of the IBUs, 30 something.
Okay.
From what I remember. Yeah, I wanted to, as far as the style guidelines are concerned, I like hoppier ESBs. My first brewery that I worked at was Sun King Brewing in Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
And they had they had an ESB for their house beer. It was called Bitter Druid until they got rid of it because no one drinks ESBs. And they kicked it off the house beer train. Yeah, anyway, Sun King's was a little bit hoppier, and I actually really liked that beer. I loved that beer. I drank a bunch of it, and I was kind of bummed out when they stopped putting it in rotation. But yeah, that was kind of the inspiration for this, is something that's... I've had a couple ESBs that are a little bit sweeter, and I like something that's a little bit more balanced.
Well, I guess there's no time like the present.
Yeah, well, I've been drinking on it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you haven't had it yet?
No, I was being a good host and listening.
I can listen and drink.
Yeah, you could do the whole, like, where you take a sip and nod. You're like, oh, yeah.
I will say, though, I do get a little bit of, like, bitterness on the back end. That, it lingers a bit. I like that because it ends... It comes across more dry. I like my ESBs more dry, more balanced, less sweet as well. I think that's just kind of across the board for all, like, darker, ambery kind of beers, whether they're lagers or ales.
I like this guy.
I don't like super sweet caramel. Like, I like my super sweet stouts. I know it's counterintuitive, but like my lagers and my ESBs and my English ales, I don't like that sweet.
You're just very selective about your treats.
Yeah. I know where my treats is coming from, and it's always gross stouts.
If you're going to go hard.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm with you. On anything that's a little maltier, I do like a little zip on the end, just to crisp it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and this is definitely a good beer that stands on its own. I like this beer. And I'll admit, it's been a couple of years since I've had an ESB.
Right.
So I'm kind of glad that I got back into it.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll admit, too, it's been a couple of years for me. So.
Yeah, it's good beer, though. I'm enjoying it. And like you said earlier, it would definitely go good with fries. And yeah, this is, I mean, not to be too stereotypical of it, but yeah, it's a fish and chips type of beer. Like,
well, I mean,
fried food would be great with this beer.
To be fair, are there many beers that wouldn't go good? To be fair, are there many beers that wouldn't go good with fried food?
Farmhouse ales.
I don't know. I'd do it.
Gozes.
I'd do it.
Yeah,
I'm one of those people that French fries will go with any beer. If I have my way.
Yeah. As long as you don't dip the fries in the beer.
No.
That's a bridge too far.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Although you could dip your fries in Hitchhiker's new concoction.
What do they have?
They just have ice cream.
Oh.
That's made out of their bottle
so
service.
it's like Frosty.
Yeah.
Like dipping it in Frosty.
Right, you could dip it in a Frosty.
I'd be about that, I'll admit.
You could do that.
I wonder if it actually has milk in it. It's like an actual soft serve?
Yeah, it's an actual soft serve. We talked about like the way those kind of soft serves are made, but I don't know if it's made the same way as that dessert system that we talked about.
I'm not sure.
There's a company, I believe it's in Illinois or Indiana. They have a proprietary system that makes a gel. It's non-lactose and it's completely dairy free, and it's a proprietary gel that freezes alcohol. And so, like, I believe Jay Wakefield has one of those machines, and Microphone in Chicago has one of those machines.
They might have gotten the heads up from Microphone. I know they're friends.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that brings up an interesting question. You said it freezes the alcohol?
Yeah.
Is that to the point where you could use that to make like an ice block? Could you kind of turn it on its head?
Now you got my attention.
Possibly? I don't know.
Somebody write that down.
Somebody write that down, and then I need like 12 of those machines. I'm going to make a bock, and then we're just going to sit there and distill it.
Get the cornhole boards out of the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. But while we discuss that and other things, we can continue to drink this ESB.
Sure. Yeah. We'll continue to drink this ESB, and we'll get to learn a little bit more about Necromancer.
Right now.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, again, we already mentioned Necromancer is new to the Pittsburgh area, and you guys opened, and you guys have been canning, and you guys have just gotten yourselves out onto the scene. And but what's kind of the short form history of Necromancer Brewing?
Oh, man. So Ben is the owner. Ben Butler's the owner. He and I met, I think it was July of last year. He actually needed a head brewer and contacted Andrew Witchy at DG, and Andrew Witchy gave him my name, and then Andrew Witchy texted me and was like, hey, I know this guy that needs a head brewer. Would you be interested? And I was like, okay. And then Ben and I had a meeting, like on a virtual meeting, and he told me, kind of what he was thinking for the brewery, and we hit it off, and for a brewer to be told that they get to brew a lot of traditional stuff, the new stuff, and to kind of get your feet wet on resurrecting old beer styles, I was like, okay. So it was a very attractive thing. So we met, we talked, and then it was like, okay, give me a budget on a brew house. And I was like, oh shit, how much is this going to cost me? And I was like, you didn't do this yet? Okay.
Oh no.
Shit. But and then we got to talking, and we built some budgets, and we got to looking for a spot. It took us a long time to find a spot. We really wanted to have it in the North Hills. There's not many breweries up here. Mm-hmm. It's kind of an untapped market. It made sense. Ben's from the North Hills, so he really wanted it to be here, and it made sense to me because I didn't want to be another brewery in a saturated part of town. So we kept looking and looking and looking. It was very hard to find a place, honestly. We actually didn't stumble upon this place until December of last year, which kind of gives you the timeline of how much ass we hauled to get this place open. But I pretty much designed the place in a couple of months, like what we would need and what direction we wanted to go. And then we found this place, and then it was, somebody shot a rocket and it was just, let's go. So we started building out and getting everything going in January, because by the time we got this place, it was the holidays. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then it was just, rocket fuel until May when we opened. We had purchased the brew system because there was such a long lead time. The one thing about COVID is that some stuff was really easy to get. Getting some stuff, there was a really long lead time. So we got that, and the rest is history. We opened in May, a week after my kid was born, which, if you want to do something really fast, you have a kid and open a brewery.
That's expert mode there.
And my wife had our kid on the 8th of May, and then the next week we were going. So, and then ever since then, it's just been rock and roll. We started cans only to go because COVID restrictions weren't lifted yet. Mm-hmm. We had designed everything to be cans only because we didn't know where we were going to be at this point. Honestly, the way things were going, we kind of thought we were still going to be cans only. But things started opening up, and so we started doing can pours, and now we actually have draft on, which we've had for a couple weeks, which is great. It's nice to be able to keg some beer and have draft. Everybody likes draft. Mm-hmm. People say that beer tastes better in draft, and now that I have a draft system in the brewery, I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, it might. Right. It comes from the same place. I don't know what makes it different. I don't know. It's all the same, but and we've put out we've brewed 36 different beers so far.
Wow.
So we've been open close to 4 months. Yeah, we're churning them out.
I say that's more than a new beer every week.
Yep. Yeah. We average 2 to 3 new beers a week.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we're hauling ass, which is great. It's nice.
All gas, no brakes. Here at Necromancer.
All gas, no brakes. Yeah, I'm gonna get them to get a big sign. That's our new tagline. We are no longer resurrecting the dead styles. It's all gas, no brakes. Necromancer Brewing Company. No, but it's been great. It's crash course in how to build and open a brewery really fast.
I think that is the fastest I have heard of a new brewery being able to be opened.
Especially in Pennsylvania. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ben and I we have a lot in common, especially with our personalities, and we are like, go big, go home, go hard, go fast, get it done. Mm-hmm. And you put two of us together and we're just like, oh, so. Yeah. When the place had opened, and I think it was honestly like month 2 that I actually sat down in the tap room and I was like, oh fuck, we're open. This has all happened. All that waiting, because
Hey, what are you here for? Cans? Oh shit.
You're giving us money now?
I felt like getting the place open was such a long process, because it was like August when we were getting everything budgeted and ordering things and getting everything going, to about January to start construction. And for me, I was like, I want to brew beer. I'm tired of sitting in front of a computer. Let's go.
Let's get in the lab.
And then this all happened, and now I'm at the point I'm like, can I just have a week where I had that, where I was just like chill? Yeah, but it's been a wild ride, and things are great. I think, I'm happy with the brew system. She and I are getting a feel for each other, figuring out each other's quirks, and we have a good team, and yeah, we're hauling ass, and it's
awesome.
It's great.
Nice.
So when you were opening up and you were figuring out your beer menu and stuff like that, how did you decide which beer was going to be the first one that you brewed and released?
So funny, a lot of the pilot batches that I did while I was dicking around trying to make drawings and order equipment and figure out what I need was on my homebrew system at home. And we just kind of sat and talked. We knew we wanted to have a New England IPA as one of the core 4. And then we were kind of bouncing around ideas, and I think the Kentucky Common was actually Ben's idea. He was like, I want to make this. Can we make this? And I was like, yeah, you can make it. Okay. And we actually did that collab with Dancing Gnome first to kind of try it out and get us moving on the scene, and it turned out great. And we wanted to have a wit because that's kind of a crowd pleaser if you're not into hoppy beers.
Thank you for that.
And then the 4th beer we were kind of up in the air about, and I was like, how about we do a grisette? A grisette would be fun. There's a couple different ways you can make one. You can make them sour, you can make them not sour, you can make them Belgian-y, you can not make them Belgian-y. I'm a research nut, which is, I don't know why. So I researched it, and the data that I had on grisettes was that it was kind of its own little entity where, you had the Belgian-y style beers. These were like the working class beers that were brewed quickly. They were hop forward. It was clean. It was like your little Belgian miners Bud Light. So I kind of took that and ran with it. And we all love it. It's a great beer. It's a crusher. So yeah, that was the 4 house beers. And then pretty much it was like, all right, let's just start researching what are these crazy beers that haven't been brewed in forever. And, I spent a lot of my time getting this place designed and building it and getting it ready. But a lot of the time was also spent researching, like, what styles of beer can we do? What are some beers that we haven't done, which the Before Swine, which is the Pearl beer, was one of the ones I stumbled upon. It's a dark mild that they used to drink on pearl boats in England. But, they didn't have hops back then, so they put a bunch of other things in it. So they put orange and ginger and licorice in there. They also put wormwood in there, but technically we can't put that in there due to TTB. I might hallucinate or something. I don't know. So I did it, did research that and a couple others, and it's kind of crazy what comes up and what you can look for. And yeah, for me, it was a nice challenge to kind of research and say, okay, yeah, I think I can make that.
Thanks.
Yeah, why not?
So when you start going down the path of researching a recipe, are there any resources that you'll automatically go to, or do you just sort of start anywhere and hope for the best?
Google.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's kind of, with some of these, there's a lot of stuff on, and you'll find like, craft beer and brewing articles, and there's some stuff that there's nothing like. The Pearl beer was tough. There's a little bit of research on it, but the stuff where I like actually looked up, okay, this looks a lot like a dark mild. It was like a facsimile thing that I found in the library.
Oh, geez.
And there's stuff like that. It's just, it's all over the place. So there's not really a go-to. And then, a lot of it's just reading a bunch of articles and seeing what other people have done. If there has been a brewery that's done it, what did they do, and kind of comparing and saying, okay, this is what it's supposed to taste like. How am I going to make that work? Kind of thing. And also, I can't use wormwood.
Right.
Would I like to use wormwood? Yeah, hell yeah. Sure. Everybody will be having a great old time. But, stuff like that. And then also trying to figure out what are the ways you can make it more modern. Because my thing is, we're resurrecting old beer styles. Let's make them in a way that it's not going to be how people used to have palates back in the 1600s. It's not like it is today.
Right.
So yeah, it's been pretty cool. But yeah, it's just, scouring the internet, looking in libraries and seeing what's there, and just kind of figuring it out.
So have you ever had to just physically just call somebody or write them an email and like, hey, how did you and your brewery do this?
No,
Okay.
No, not yet. I'm sure there'll probably come a time where I do that. Usually it's just, you just lick the finger and go, okay, let's go. Yeah, it's just, the cool thing is I think I have enough freedom to be like, all right, we're going to try this thing. Fingers crossed.
Here we go.
Use what knowledge I have of what I know works and what doesn't work, and then just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because we talked, and it might have been like when you guys were first like getting on the board of like people knowing you were coming around, and we saw that you had a grisette on the menu, and I think we were talking on an episode in the past about like when's the last time we even saw a grisette, and the only one that came to my mind was like 2017. Somebody made a grisette for Pittsburgh Craft Beer Week as a collaboration.
That's dope.
It was just like a one-off, and like that's the last time I could remember one. But also that same year, somebody made like a Rogan beer, which you don't
Hell
see.
yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody also made a braggot that was like a mead. It was called It was called the Buzzerker, I believe.
I remember that one.
Yeah,
That was a good one. I enjoyed that one.
because bees, but also buzz because it was 10%.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So apparently 2017, somebody had like old styles all on the mind.
I guess so, man.
Yeah. Have you come across any styles that you just don't think you can replicate?
Yeah, a few. Some of them, it's just there's not enough research. So this is kind of giving some away, but it's not a huge thing. So a kvass. Does anybody know what a kvass is?
Russian trash.
Essentially, I guess. So it's a technically a beer that's been made with rye bread.
Oh.
There is absolutely nothing on how to make this thing except for on Food Network, somebody would be like, I made a kvass with some prune juice and some rye bread. And I'm like, no,
You made toilet wine.
you did not. So we are actually, I'm not going to give too many details away. We are actually going to kind of do our own version of a kvass. It's not going to have prune juice in it, but
Yeah.
it is going to have rye in it. It is going to have bread. It's going to be a collaboration with some of my favorite people and one of my favorite companies. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
But I think when you get to that place, you're like, all right, how am I going to recreate? There's nothing written down. All you know is it had like these couple things in there. At that point, I'm like, all right, I'm going to take this and just run with it and do my own thing. And it might not be exactly what they used to have, but if they had it, they'd probably like it.
And it's your interpretation.
Yeah.
So, who's going to tell you no?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think kind of stuff like that. It's like, all right, this isn't going to be exactly how they used to have it, but let's make it our own and make it something that people are going to like. And then it's becomes something new,
Yeah.
but also old.
And yours.
And mine.
There is a YouTube channel. I can't remember the name right off the top of my head, but it's something along the lines of like Boris Does Things. And
Okay.
it's just he makes a really terrible version of kvass of just malt extract, no hops, throws it in a six stool. Yeah, it's awful.
It's my goal to not do that.
Well,
Something
yeah,
that still
right.
tastes like something that people like now, but
Right.
also gives homage to that.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's all kvass was probably a bunch of,
Just a bunch of malt.
Yeah.
just a
And
bunch of Russians being like,
This'll do.
stick it outside for a bit, and then you'll feel good.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he uses like bread yeast as well. So it's not.
boy.
Yeah.
There's a couple beers that actually use bread yeast. That scares
Really?
me a teensy-weensy bit.
Yeah, I no thank you. No.
There's a few beers, historical beers that use bread yeast, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna stick with the brewer's yeast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want that thing to pop off.
This is now an homage.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we can expect coming up in the future? Obviously, you guys haven't been open for an entire year yet, so you haven't gone through all the seasons. Coming up in the winter months, we can usually expect darker beers. So Can we expect maybe a brown ale? That's not too common in Pittsburgh. There's some things, but
Yeah, I don't know about a brown ale per se. We have a couple things coming out in December. We actually have a lot. We have a bunch of resurrections. a bunch of trendy beers. So if you guys like pastry stouts, we've got a couple pastry stouts. Yeah, we're kind of, as far as the holidays are concerned, I think we're doing it up. So
Nice.
you know, you can expect a pumpkin beer for the Thanksgiving. And then we're also kind of doing the kind of some old school stuff. So I'm hoping to do a beer to guard
Okay.
for the winter months, because a nice strong
Yeah.
Can I just say thank you for not having a pumpkin beer in August?
Oh no,
Or
the
July.
pumpkin beer I think is getting. I think in my mind and on my production schedule is getting released like the day before or either the week before Thanksgiving.
Thank
as
you.
it should be.
Yes.
There you go.
As it should be. Yeah, we're doing that kvass, which is going to be a darker, because rye.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
The red rye IPA is going to make a return at some point. And yeah, there's going to be a bunch of stouts. I have a breakfast stout, some pastry stouts.
Can we just write you like a check, like a blank check?
Oh, you can always
then-
write me a blank check.
then-
Yeah,
Whatever you number feel is appropriate.
yeah. We'll talk after. That sounds great.
Fill,
Yeah,
a
so
case,
yeah, there's
fill a case up with whatever.
Yeah,
And
you
then-
know.
yeah. I think December is kind of dubbed mostly holiday beers. So yeah, something for everyone. We're gonna do a couple of resurrections. One's a Schwarzweizen, which is like a black wheat.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. That'll be fun. Sounds fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're probably going to have a Schwartz beer because I love Schwartz beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a bunch of dark beers. We really like dark beers here, which is funny. I was never really a huge dark beer fan until like the past couple of years, and then I was like, dark beers. They're good. They don't suck.
Yeah.
No, they do not.
They're good.
Ooh, t-shirt idea.
Dark beers, they don't
They
suck.
don't suck.
Oh, you guys are gonna steal my. I'm gonna steal my saying. I say that a lot.
You set it
yeah.
onto our microphones, and now it's ours.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got plenty of holiday stuff coming up. Things are gonna kind of take a little bit of a shift towards more holiday beers, and then a little less on the lighter side.
Awesome. And just as far as like events or any kind of bigger plans for Necromancer coming up in the future, is anything that you want to announce or talk about?
Oh hell yeah! So we've got in 2 weeks we have Oktoberfest. Yes. I think the Saturday is sold out. We're doing it in sessions. The Friday still has tickets. I recommend coming. It should be fun. I'm pretty proud of the Oktoberfest. I think it's going to be good. So that's going to be a big thing. After that, we are doing the Brave Noise beer collab. I don't know if you guys know about that.
No. What is
So
that?
that's a whole big story about, you guys know Rat Magnet and the
Yes.
whole discrimination thing. This is her project.
Oh,
Okay.
Kind
okay.
of keep
All right.
the ball rolling. So it's you put your code of conduct and say that, this is important for you as your brewery, and kind of make it public that, we're not going to stand for that. And then we donate proceeds of the beer. So we're going to have a big release party, I believe October 8th during Three Rivers Beer Week.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So we'll have DJ Formosa here and raise money. We're going to donate to Persad Center. So that'll be a good time. And then Halloween weekend is going to be our Schwarztag, which we're releasing to Schwartz beer. Schwarztag means Schwartz Day.
Oh.
I like Schwartz beer. So I decided we have a whole day for it.
Hooray.
Schwarztag. Schwarzbier. So we're going to release a Schwartz, and then there's going to be some Halloween stuff. I think we're going to have a DJ for that, maybe a dance party, costume contests. So yeah, those are the things we have lined up so far. Yeah, I mean, we have the whole, you guys saw the space, it's huge. So we have a bunch of space, and we want to kind of get people in here and have a good time. So yeah, that's it. And plus, Oktoberfest you kind of have to do because it rocks.
Right.
Let's have
True statement.
pretzels, let's drink beer. It's great. We have an accordion player for that thing. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a Oompa Loompa good time. And then everybody likes Halloween parties, and I really like Schwartz beer. It just so happens that it's all gonna get released at the same time, and I was like, Schwarztag, yes. For me, it's a day to drink Schwartz beer. For everyone else, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna get dressed up for Halloween. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but Schwarztag. And then the Brave Noise project is just, it's good cause, good feels. So yeah.
Right on. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get more into this in segment 2, but you obviously have a little bit of a pedigree with working Oktoberfest friendly breweries. So we'll get into that more.
Yeah.
But
before we do that, I think it's about time for us to get back to this
Yeah.
ESB, which there is a slight problem.
they're all gone.
It's all gone.
All gone.
Yeah, it's all gone.
So that was an easy mission accomplished.
It was. Yeah. No complaints on this microphone at all.
No, not at all. That's super smooth drinking, super balanced, has that nice bitterness and dryness at the end, and would really go well with some kind of food.
It's so nice to have something that isn't just a haze bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, we make those too.
It's we're still on the Spicy Boy Summer Revenge Tour,
2021.
right? But we're easing into cooler weather. It's been raining a bit.
Yeah.
A lot of bit for some people, unfortunately. Sorry. But yeah, it's been, raining, little cool, little chilling down. So yeah, these not so much dark, but medium body.
Yeah. This would be a good beer for the early evening near the campfire.
Yes.
Before you start getting into the colder weather where you start getting into your stouts.
And whiskey.
And whiskey.
And whiskey.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
straight
at that
whiskey.
point, it's just like, let's just drink whiskey. That's what January is.
Rauch beer and whiskey.
What are you making in Necromancer in January? Whiskey.
We're making whiskey.
Not actually, but that's going to be my mood.
We're a distillery. Don't.
Does anyone have any scotch?
This is barley wine as close as it can get to not being called bourbon.
Icebox, damn it.
We're here to toe the line. Before we do that, I say we take a break.
Yup.
Get another beer up and running. Come
Sure.
back for segment 2. We'll talk more beer.
Can do.
We'll be right back. First Sip Brew Box is a one-of-a-kind subscription service for craft beer lovers based right here in Pittsburgh. Every month, First Sip will send you a box full of craft beer enthusiast essentials, including t-shirts, glassware, and even food. Right now, our friends at First Sip Brew Box have an offer for you. Just sign up for a 3-month subscription and get your 4th month free. Just enter the code HOPUSA when you sign up at firstsipbrewbox.com. That's HOPUSA at checkout to get your 4th month free at firstsipbrewbox.com. Welcome back, everybody. We are here live to tape, even though we don't have tape. This is all digital now because we're in the future. We are here at Necromancer Brewing here in the North Hills, right off of Babcock Boulevard. I'm here. Steve's here. Lauren's here. Beer's here.
Hurrah.
I like it.
It's a wonderful combination.
Yes. With that, though, Lauren, why don't you please introduce your next beer?
Yeah, it's called White Knuckle. It's a Belgian IPA. It's actually a recipe, well, play on a recipe. It's not completely like the recipe I made, but when I first moved to Pittsburgh, I think I was here for like 3 or 4 months. I was working at the Symphony, and there was a trash homebrew competition. And I was like, I'm going to enter this homebrew competition and see what it's like. So I made this beer, and I fucking won. I won the IPA category. And I remember, I made the beer, and it was a buddy of mine had come over, and I was like, yeah, I'll show you how to homebrew. Let's make this beer. It'll be super fun. We're going to enter in competition, see what happens, whatever. Fine. And then we go to this thing, because I kind of wanted to check out the homebrew club, just to see. I was like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? And I remember they had all the beers that people sent, so you could drink them. So of course I was making my way through the IPA category because I was like, who's my competition? And then I drank one and I was like, oh fuck, that's good. And then I was like, oh shit, is that mine? So I was the dumbass that they called my name to win the thing. And I was like, fuck yeah. And I stood up. I was like, this is amazing. And everybody's looking at me like I'm out of my fucking mind. Like, who is this girl who just, we've never seen this woman in her life. And she also wins the thing. And then she's screaming. And I was like, yes, and I was like, I have a medal. Anyways, that's the story behind this beer. So of course, when Ben was like, let's make a Belgian IPA, I was like, I have just the recipe. So this is a play on that. I like it. I've always liked Belgian IPAs. I feel like they're one of those styles that you can't really find anymore. You can find white IPAs, which are not to be confused with Belgian IPAs. White IPAs are more like a Belgian wit IPA. Belgian IPAs are straight up just Belgian-y and IPA. And the fun thing with this is like trying to figure out what yeast is going to play happy with the hops, because there are hops that don't play happy with Belgian yeast. There's certain types of Belgian yeast depending on the esters that do not play with hops, and it's kind of finding that balance, and then how much bitterness, how much aroma to kind of, because there's a lot of shit going on. But yeah, I like it. I've always liked Belgian IPAs. Stone always made a good one. Yeah. I brew it because I like it.
Yeah, well, hey, that's
And then everybody who doesn't know who I am, who was sitting in that hall for the trash homebrew competition, I don't know what year it was, is like, oh, that girl. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. This is my beer again. Hey.
A lot of people are getting flashbacks.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that girl went nuts because she won. She was standing up screaming. I was pretty excited. So yeah.
Yeah, right on. Looking at it, it has a really nice, tight, like, head to it.
It does.
Like, the head retention is great because it's just super tight and laces really well in the glass. And then trying to look through it is not opaque, but it is way, way hazy and way cloudy.
It is. I mean, it does kind of have a wit, not quite a heavy kind of a look to it. So it's kind of supposed to.
Yeah.
So on the nose, guess what?
Hoppy.
It's hoppy.
Yeah.
It is hoppy.
Yeah, I think it's mostly pills. And there's some Vienna in there. And just a wee bit of biscuit.
Right on.
Belgian, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What kind of hops are in it, though?
It's Mosaic and Citra.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So the yeast I use off the top of my head is it's just the White Labs Belgian 1, which leans more fruity, peppery, which for me always plays better with citrusy hops. You don't want to get too much berry and too much of that like funk,
Right.
because otherwise they ain't happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say, tasting it, it's really smooth, and that's not as much hop on the flavor that I was expecting. Like it's way hoppier on the nose, but like to taste it, it's really, really balanced. And
It is. It is very well balanced. And the other thing is, if you're trying to get somebody to go to the hoppy side, trying to nudge them in that direction, this is a good beer to hand to them.
Yeah, I think a lot of the beers that we make that are in like the hoppy, like bitter hoppy tradition, we try to do a little less just to make sure that most consumers are going to like it. Because, I mean, if you go to, 2009 hoppy beers, most people are going to be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's 60 IBUs.
Is it really?
It is.
Damn.
But I think part of the Belgian yeast ester kind of masks that a little bit.
So was there any dry hopping done with this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I had a
Yes.
hunch.
Yep.
It's Citra and Mosaic. Why wouldn't you dry hop with them?
Fair point.
But yeah, like as I continue to drink it, I get a little bit more of a residual bitterness build up on the back end. But
It's there. Oh yeah.
I'm getting on the burp ups. I'm getting kind of that fruitiness from the Belgian yeast. Yeah, it's interesting.
I bet you the judges at the Great American Beer Fest don't judge on burp ups.
I don't
I
know
wish
if
they
they do or
did,
not.
man.
Right?
They should, right?
That's part of the
It's
experience.
part of the experience. And sometimes I've had a beer and I burp and I'm like, that was good.
It's better. It's better. It's better coming back.
It is. Yeah. You get to enjoy it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. That I enjoy that. But I'm not the one to ask if I enjoy Belgians and IPAs. Of course I do, Adam.
I feel that spotlight feeling and getting warmer and warmer by the second here.
Yeah.
It doesn't suck.
Okay.
It doesn't
Hey.
suck. No, I like that it does have that balance to it. For the hop heads, this is definitely something that you would enjoy. You would not be disappointed by it, especially with having that. It does have a little bit of that hop residue. It's got that, the hop coating,
Sticky.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is good on that front. And like I said, if it's something that you're trying to push somebody in that direction, use this beer.
Only if they like Belgians, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't like Belgians, they can just get the hell out.
Get out. I don't know if you said what the ABV was on this, but
Oh, it's 7.
okay.
Okay, all right.
Then the point I was about to make just makes no fucking sense.
Well, say it anyway.
I will, because what I was going to say is this drink's so light that this is what I wish most session IPAs were.
That's a good point.
Because most session IPAs I find usually somewhat lacking in body, and this maintains maltiness and it maintains that extra flavor that you get from the Belgian yeast. I wish more session IPAs were like this, because even though the hop flavor isn't sock you in the mouth, you still have a lot of other flavors at play as well. But it's 7%, so
Hey, any beer is a session beer if you believe in yourself.
well, it's a session beer for me. It's not for everyone. Lauren, you already brought it up. You have a homebrew history, and I know that you were featured even on the Viceland, brewing show when it came through.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about that experience, you can.
We can.
Yeah.
I've homebrewed. Before I started professionally, I was homebrewing. I think it was 12. I don't know how many years, 12 to 15 years before I started brewing professionally. When Viceland came around, I wanted to brew professionally. I saw it as a way to kind of get myself out there. I don't remember who it was. Somebody actually was they had asked, I guess, people around town, do you know any homebrewers that might be interested? And then somebody threw my name in a hat, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I want to brew. Let's do this. It was an interesting experience. For a while afterwards, people would recognize me and be like, where do I know you from? I'm like, you don't know me. And for someone, I'm not a very, want to be out there person. I don't want people to recognize me on the street. And so, for 100 people to be like, hey, you were on that show, and I'm like, no, not me. I'm good. That was a little bit interesting. It's kind of interesting to see how TV works, because you can see they bring the whole camera crew, and then a lot of it is they want things to look good for a shot, so you're doing things 100 times, pouring grain into mash 100 times. But it was fun. It was an experience.
Say, were you able to dictate the recipe, or did they dictate that back to you?
You're able to dictate the recipe. So
okay.
It's really weird. They call you, they're like, all right, you're interested, fine, let's call you. And they're like, all right, we're going to call you. This is what it's going to kind of be like. And then you have to have a video chat. So I guess they have to make sure that you have a TV face or something. So we did that. And then they video record that and send it to a bunch of producers where they ask you homebrewing, what do you think about making? And then after that, you have another video chat. And then after that, they tell you if you're on the show.
Oh.
It was a lot of interviewing.
That is a process.
And then they show up and they're like, we're here, have all your brewing stuff ready to go, have your water boiling. I'm like, my water's not supposed to be boiling for a mash. And have your water boiling. I'm like, okay.
You don't know anything, do
Because they're
you?
like, we want the steam. And I'm like, it's fucking 20 degrees outside. You're going to have steam no matter what. And it was just, yeah, anyways. And what was funny is I have a mill at home that I would use, one of those barley crushers with a drill. They're filming me, and the fucking drill is blowing up. It's just frying. And I'm like, oh, shit, I got to get it. Go my neighbors, and I get a backup drill. I'm trying to... It was interesting. And the glory of TV. My dog fucking loved them. She was just she was the one that should have been on TV. She saw those cameras and jumped outside, sat down, was like, I am a dog. I'm very cute. Look at me. Don't worry about her. She's not doing anything important. No, but look at me. And she was just playing it out, be like, I'm so cute. And I was like, dog.
This is good B-roll for you.
Oh, they totally got B-roll because there's me. They're like, oh, we want the dog in the shot. And I was like, all right. And they're like, here, get a beer and take a big drink of it and have her sit on your steps with you and give you a kiss. And I was like, hey, Mel, give me a kiss. Which she does. And I'm drinking a beer and it's all in slow motion and shit. And my dog is just eating it up. And I could just tell she was like, look at all these people. They're here for me. No, it was a cool experience. And then we went to Rock Bottom and had the Pink Boost Brew Day because I wanted to do that. And then they were like, they sprung it at me at the end. They're like, oh, Meg, who was the host, wants to try your beer there, bring a keg. And I was like, she wants to do what? And then everybody, we'll get B-roll of everybody trying your beer. And I was like, everyone? I was like, fuck, man, give me a break. So I'm like sitting there trying to pour the beer. My hands are shaking. I'm pretty sure if you watched and you look close enough on the show, you can see my hand shake. I'm so nervous. I'm like trying to pour this keg. I'm like, everybody, here's a glass. Meanwhile, the only thing I'm thinking is like, can I have more beer, please, so I can calm the fuck down? But no, it was great. It was fun. It was pretty good. Yeah, they're very generous. They came and they had the thing like, all right, we did the show, and they just come with like a case of like refrigerated beer and swag, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck am I gonna do with all this? Yeah, so it was fun. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Just to jump back though, you said you had been homebrewing for 10, 11, 12 years. Like, what actually got you interested in homebrewing to begin with?
Oh gosh, funny story. So my best friend, I have a couple best friends that got me into beer and into brewing. One of them was my best friend in college, and he was the one that kind of introduced me to craft beer. Like, I was sitting around drinking Bud Light, and he was like, "Try this Gumball Head." And I was like, I don't know what the fuck is that? And he was like, "No, try the Gumball Head." And I tried it, and I was like, that's hoppy. And he was like, yeah, and like, but I didn't hate it. So I kind of liked it. And then like, as I drank it, I was like, this is actually really good. And then I lived like 2 blocks from this, it was like a fancy grocery store / they had a bunch of beer in there. They had everything. They had Belgian beers. They had Three Floyds. They had all this stuff. And we would just go and try different beers. And so one day, like a couple of years later, he's like, you can make this, right? And I was like, what do you mean you can make beer? I was like, don't you need like stuff? Like, how is beer even made? Don't they like inject alcohol? He's like, no, it's yeast. And I was like bread? And then he was like, yeah. And then we started talking about it. And immediately I run my ass to the homebrew shop, get a homebrew kit, and I'm like, I'm going to make beer. And then I just started homebrewing. And then, a couple months later, my other buddy, who is a very dear friend, he was a very avid home brewer. And I was looking for a roommate, and we did the whole like Craigslist interview thing. And it was funny because she's my girlfriend at the time, but my wife and my roommate, we were interviewing this guy. This guy comes up looking like a homeless man. Okay, he hadn't shaved for weeks. I love him. He's the best. And he shows up, and we start hitting it off about homebrewing and beer, and I was like, this guy has to move in. And he's like, yeah, I brewed at Bell's for a bit. And I was like, you did what? I was like, this guy has to move in. I remember like after the interview, everybody's like, well, might see. I was like, might see. He is moving in. And then that's when the homebrewing really stepped up, because he really knew his shit. I didn't know as much. Really started brewing, and he had brewed professionally, so got all those tidbits. And then we were brewing like every weekend. We had like a 4-tap kegerator that we.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, we were just brewing. And then when I moved to Indy with my wife, and I was looking for something to do, Sun King was there, and I was like, oh man, fuck, I could work at a brewery. I know how to do this. No, I didn't. And then I was like, I could work at a brewery. So I ended up they did the whole volunteer. It was way back when you can like, if you really, everybody wanted to work at a brewery. So they were like, okay, volunteer and show us you really want to work here. Like, we're going to just rub your nose in it a bit. And you're like, no, I really want to. I was one of those geeks, and I got a job there. And that's when I was like, I want to do this. The only thing that stopped me from doing that is I actually got a job with what my degree is in, which is in music. I got a job to teach at Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis, and to be the assistant chair of the music department there. Couldn't really turn that down after getting all these degrees in music. So I was really bummed out. I was devastated. I literally cried. I remember talking to my buddy Sean, who was working with me that night, and I was like, I have to quit. I was so upset. And he was like, why are you upset? You're going to get a real job. And I was like, it's not a real job. So I did that for a while, which is actually what made me move to Pittsburgh, because I got a job at the Symphony, managing the pops and some of the classical programs. for a bit, and I wasn't happy with it. It wasn't what I wanted to do, and it was my wife that was like, just fucking go. She didn't say it like that, but she was like, why don't you try and work and be a brewer again? You really wanted to do that. Like, you gave it up, and then I quit my job at Symphony, and the rest is history. Worked my way up, and
Awesome.
boom.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And now I work at Necromancer. So
We've heard that story a couple of times of like people following what they wanted to do, sort of.
Yeah.
But then transferring to brewing, and then also just it's nice having like a supportive spouse that like lets you go.
oh,
Yeah.
Run
she
your-
is-
Gives that nudge.
She
Yeah.
is the bee's knees. Honestly, I would not be the person that I am today if it wasn't for her. And I remember just being in the kitchen, and she was just like, why don't you you were so happy when you were done. She's like, why don't you just go do that again? And I was like, really? You want me to quit this like fancy, I wouldn't say fancy, but like good job
Yeah.
Right.
that I worked my entire life to get to go do this thing that was a hobby that I really like. And she's like, no, do it. And then I did it, and I would not have changed anything. I love being a brewer. I love being able to do this every day. It's great.
Right on. And so, kind of within your history of Pittsburgh, I believe you started as an assistant brewer, or at least helping out at Rock Bottom with Meg.
Yep,
down there.
I was an assistant. She hired me as an assistant brewer pretty soon after the whole Beerland thing, and actually applied
Oh.
during Beerland. Well, it's like right before Beerland, and she needed an assistant, and I was like, please hire me. I worked at Rock Bottom for a little over a year, and it was great. People will say what they will about Rock Bottom, but as a brewer, it is a great place to learn the ropes, get your feet wet, understand the equipment, understand old equipment. It can also be said for Penn. I have all new equipment. It doesn't change. You think it'll change, and you're like, I have all new equipment. Nothing will break. And
Nope.
no, it's all the same. It doesn't matter if it's 20 years old or 4 months old. No, it was a great place to learn how to do things. I mean, that was shit, man. That was like a fucking, again, somebody shot a gun. It was go. I think I was brewing there, learning to brew within the first week or two. She had me learning to brew. I was learning everything, and it was just like, like I said, you think you know when you're a home brewer, you don't. There's so much shit. Which is great. It was great. And then, I worked there for a little over a year, and then I got the job at Penn. Penn was awesome. It really taught me how to do lagers. I mean, everything they do is decoction. We did decoction on the Hefeweizen. We did a double decoction on the Hefeweizen. I remember just all of us standing around and being like, why are we doing this? With a 2-hour boil. I was like, for a fucking wheat beer, man? Are you serious?
It's the way we do it. It's the way it's been
This
done.
is the way it is done. No, but like learning how decoction works and why you're doing all those steps. Because when you're doing single infusion, when you're doing homebrew, if you haven't done decoction, you don't really understand it as much. You're like, you do these things, and heat does some stuff, but like to like really do it and understand it and look at recipes and do those over and over and over again, and understand lagering and why we do that. Like I kind of understood lagering when I worked at Rock Bottom. You're like, that's it, okay. But like having it lager in lager tanks, and why do we do this, and what is the spunding valve, and it was great. Both places taught me tons of things that I had not known before, and I mean the system at Penn is insane. To think that was built in the 80s. I mean, it's a 2-vessel decoction with everything that you would need, everything that comes on a brewer house nowadays. And
So for our listeners, for clarification's sake, what is decoction?
Okay, here we go. So decoction mashing is, all right, so hopefully everybody who listens to this kind of understands what a mash is, or else we're going to be spending like an hour of me talking a bunch of science.
Yeah, I think we can get in there, but it's definitely like...
All right, so you mix grains in warm water, and what that does is the grain that's been malted has a bunch of starch in it. You want to convert that starch to sugar so that the yeast will eat it and make alcohol. Yeast like sugar, they make alcohol. Brewers mix the hot water, activates the enzymes in the malt, which then create that reaction
Right.
to change starch from sugar. For decoction mashing, what you're doing is you're heating up portions of the grain to do a couple different things.
Okay.
So at Penn, we did a couple different things. We would mash in. Everything's going to be in Celsius. I'm sorry, because
That's right.
talk about a crazy system. The whole brew system on the brew house on the hot side was in German. Everything was in Celsius. Everything was in Celsius and kilograms. Then you go to this cold side for fermentation. Everything was in barrels and Fahrenheit.
Oh,
and you're
jeez.
and the brew panel, the brew house panel was in German. I had to fucking learn German to do this.
That's just mean.
So everything's in Celsius. I could like get my calculator and I can tell you like guesstimates of where they are. But like we would mash in at like 45 degrees Celsius. What that's going to do is your protein rest. It gets your pH everybody, mash pH is important. You want it to be right. It gets your pH kind of ready, and it also starts to break down some of those proteins in the malt. Then you'll raise it up, and we would actually raise the whole mash temperature up. We had one of those fancy things that would raise the whole mash up to about usually around 62 Celsius. And what that's going to do, that's your beta amylase. Getting sciencey here, guys.
That's all right.
Really
That's
sorry.
all right.
Beta amylase is one of the enzymes that converts starches to sugar. It actually does the beta amylase kind of cuts your complex carbohydrate chains into half.
Okay.
Essentially. Okay. It's the big cutter. All right. So you want to do that. Then what we would do is we would separate most of the grain and just put it in the lauter tun.
Okay.
Let that guy sit. He's going to do its thing, and then you take the other portion of the grain, and this is a single decoction. Double decoction, you do a couple of these steps twice. And then we'll raise it up to usually 72, 74 degrees Celsius, and that's your alpha amylase.
Okay.
Alpha amylase.
160 degrees Fahrenheit.
Thank you.
Thank you, subtitle Steve.
Alpha amylase, what that's going to do is it kind of chomps little bits
Okay.
of the chain, so it's breaking down your chain into smaller sugars.
Okay.
Those smaller sugars are easier for the yeast to eat and then turn into alcohol. We'll do that. Then what we'll do is we actually do what's called a cook. We'll actually boil the grain. We raise it to 212 Fahrenheit, guys, not Celsius.
Yeah.
Changing on us again.
Sorry, this is the way my brain works.
100 Celsius.
Yeah, so we do it 100 Celsius, and we would cook it with the paddles going. And what that's going to do, that gets your Maillard reactions. Maillard reactions are the same thing when you toast bread. It's like that caramelly, kind of umami, dark caramel sweet flavor. Get that out of the grain, and then we would toss all that hot grain into the lauter tun with the grain that was sitting there. And what that does is that raises the temperature of the entire grain to your mash out temp, so it stops all those conversions.
Okay.
Then you're ready to do the rest of this stuff. Decoction.
So, for those that were listening, in case you didn't notice, that question wasn't for you, listener. That was for me.
Yeah, that got real technical and
That was-
sciencey really quick.
So were you listening to last week's episode when decoction came up probably 2 or 3 times?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Fair enough.
But yeah, like learning that at Penn and like understanding it to the degree that I know now, I would have never been able to tell you that before. I'm like, yeah, it's like, but, yeah. It gives you a new appreciation for how lagers are made and how they used to be made.
They're a whole different beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for reference, Adam, there's a reason why we never do that on the turkey burner system. We need more pots and we need more.
Oh God, that would suck. That's the reason I never did it as a home brewer. I would be like, it'll be fine. Just put some yeast in it.
It's being handed out to friends anyway.
Right.
It's all right. We don't need all of that.
We were talking to some home brewers last week who like they do have the setup. They have like the double electric.
Nice.
So they can pull out a basket and then put the basket back in. So they maintain kind of what they got as a mash runoff, and then they can boil it and get that second decoction
That's dope.
kind of going. So yeah. And we also talked to the head brewer, Chris, from Penn. So,
Oh, dude, he is the best.
yeah. So I believe he brought up decoction a couple times, maybe, but
He's
just
good,
wondering
dude.
if that's what had you all confused, Adam. You saw an opportunity.
Well, see, the thing was something like that. I need it explained to me like 3 times before it finally sticks.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
Yeah, there's good videos, of course.
Of course.
Yeah,
Writing
that's where I
down
learned it from. I had been reading it enough times, like doing research for the show, that I went on YouTube and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's like, oh, it's just extra steps.
Yeah.
Not
Which a
applicable.
lot of brewers would say are not needed.
Mhm. Especially if you're on a 5-gallon turkey burner system.
If you're on
Right.
a packet, yeah, don't do it. Just a preface. A lot of lagers, they did this because the malts were not as modified as they are now.
Okay.
I would stand to say, though, I think, and this is my own personal opinion, I don't know what any other brewer thinks, I do think that the cooking of the grain to get those Maillard reactions, that is important. I think, the lagers we made at Penn, there was a certain oomph about
Little
them
wolf about it.
that is hard to get on a single infusion system. And I think it must be, my brain was like, it has to be the cooking of the grain. What makes it different?
I mean, caramelized onions are better than regular onions.
No
So
kidding.
You're on to something here,
There
Steve.
you
so
go.
I don't know.
So to roll back a little bit, from both the home brewing side and from the professional side, recipe creation. On the homebrew side and on the professional side, what were the two recipes that you created first and foremost that kind of made you say, hey, I know what I'm doing?
Oh, shit. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever thought to myself, I know what I'm doing. I think it's a constant, just keep trying thing. I mean, even with the recipes we have now and the beers we've made, I'm constantly like, all right, I like that, but what can we do? And it was the same with homebrewing. I think I made a porter that won a bunch of awards in homebrewing, and I was like, okay, we're going to put you in this little folder right here. You're okay. The rest of you, we need to figure this out.
Shape up.
As far as professional brewing, gosh, man, that's tough. The black IPA is the one beer I've made on a professional level. Not the one beer. I made a couple that I'm like, oh, it's not bad. Doesn't suck.
I'm going to say, from the ones that we've drank, they don't suck.
I mean, it doesn't suck. But like the one that I'm just like, oh, fuck yeah, is probably the black IPA, which I should give you guys a taste of the new version. Obviously revamped. Not too much, just made some tweaks. But like that is the beer that I went out with the goal, and I'm like, I want it to taste like this and do this. And I made it, and it did pretty much hit all the check boxes of what I wanted as a brewer. And I love black IPAs, and I love them when they're like the black IPAs that I like. So when I drank it the first time, I was like, okay, you're gonna go in this folder with this porter that I made when I was homebrewing. You just go right there.
It's a wolf pack of two.
We had a little bit of a black IPA resurgence early in the summer.
I know, because you wouldn't stop talking about it.
Yes, because I love black IPAs. It's the only beer I've won a medal on.
They're great.
Which I think, Lauren, you actually might have judged at the North Hills Home Brew Fest a couple
Was it
years.
when I worked at Penn?
Yeah.
Then I probably did.
It was like 2 years ago.
Then I probably liked it
Yeah, so
because I'm real picky about my black IPAs.
well then there was probably only like two, I think. It doesn't matter. I beat one. This year I couldn't beat two other people in the smoked beer category. That's
because you got thrown into the juggernaut
I
category.
know. I didn't know
There was that many smoke beers?
there were 3 smoke beers, and one was from Adam Bashline, and
Grand
He's a good
champion.
brewer.
Yeah, grand champion.
Grand champion.
Adam Bashline.
He took home like everything with his smoked poblano beer. So
man.
it was good.
He literally
It was good.
smoked me. But I thought I was safe bringing a smoked tea beer. Wasn't.
I mean, it sounds interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would have liked to try it.
Yeah.
We could still make that happen.
make it
Okay,
happen.
bring me some beers,
Yeah.
man.
But what the hell was I talking about?
I don't know.
Black IPAs?
Black IPA. Oh yeah. Black IPA. So we had Necromancer, we had Gristhouse, and we had Hitchhiker.
Yes.
All come out within a couple weeks of each other. And I remember like the Necromancer one I really like because yours is a lot smoother and it's a lot less reliant on being like a harsh IPA. Which I like that. I also really like the Grist House one because it is that harsh, just bitter, almost coffee-like.
Almost an angry beer.
Yeah, it's almost coffee-like and without using coffee, which is what I really like out of black IPAs. So yeah, those two were on the tops of my lists when they came out. I was happy because you don't see black IPAs too much anymore.
No, you don't.
Aside from Cobble House is the only other one that really
That's
offers
their
one.
Black Bear?
Yes, I like
Yeah.
that one too.
They need to come back.
Yeah, but that's what Necromancer's for. Resurrection of
Black
beers.
IPAs, damn it.
So another thing you're a part of, though, Lauren, and it's kind of appropriate. When we walked in the door, you were having a little meeting with Happy Hour, the professional wrestler. But both of you are on the Pittsburgh Diversity Council, and Necromancer was part of the first She Knows Beer release in partnership with Trace. So I know just recently Dancing Gnome put out another version of She Knows Beer. If you want to talk about that, and do you know what the next one might be?
Yep. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, She Knows Beer is a collab that the Diversity Council is putting on with various breweries, and it's to highlight women that work within the organization by having them help brew a beer, and then the proceeds we ask go to an organization that benefits underrepresented people. For the one that we did with the thing that happened with Trace is we had just opened. And I was like, I don't have the bandwidth. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to fit this in my production schedule because we were trying to get off the ground. And Trace was like, oh, well, why don't we just do a collab and a collab? And I was like, well, that's awfully nice. The guys at Trace are totally awesome.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Plug.
Fully agreed.
And they were like, yeah, we'll do it with you. And we'll just like do a collab. And I was like, oh, that's fucking great. Yeah, let's do it. And we donated to Sisters PGH. We had a big release party. It was great. It was a great turnout. It was awesome. And then Dancing Gnome just came out with theirs, which is a red ale, very good. And then I think the next one is going to be Mindful. That's going to put one out.
Oh, right on. Okay.
What month is it? I'm sorry.
Wait, right now? Or
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, is it August? Is it September? October, I think, is when they're coming out.
Okay.
October and November. But yeah, I think it's going really well. I mean, that was our first kind of foray out into the world as a diversity council, and it kind of the collab with Trace kind of worked out because we're doing the Brave Noise beer project, but right when all that stuff kind of happened was when we released it. So the timing we didn't plan for that, but the timing couldn't have been better. I think we're planning to have breweries lined up through the end of 2022 to have to have collabs with that. So it's great. I think it's awesome. It's great to see breweries step up and kind of help out for the cause and, showcase women in the industry.
And I love that it's something that it's continuing on, that it's not just a one-off.
Right.
No, we wanted it to be a thing where we could just get as many breweries that wanted to sign up as possible, get the awareness out there, and then donate to as many organizations as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And yeah, Adam and I were chatting, just having a little diversity council chat. Yeah, we got some stuff we're thinking about doing in the future, and I think it's going to be great. It's a great organization. I can't be happier and more proud to be a part of it.
Right on.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, stay on the lookout. Obviously, they have a bunch of social media. PGH Diversity Council, Brewery Diversity Council on Instagram, I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah. So check. I know that's kind of the main page to go to, but yeah, stay on the lookout for stuff coming from them. In the meantime, though, let's come back to the Belgian IPA.
I drink it.
Can't do it.
All gone.
All gone.
All gone.
Mine's empty too.
Yeah.
So
that's how
I guess
good it
it
is.
can't be that bad.
Yeah.
You drink it.
No. And I'll actually be the first to talk about this. I thought it got better the further I got into it.
Heyo.
I appreciated it the more I drank it.
Nice.
I kind of, once you got that hop coating going, you could drink it more. It's good beer.
Yes. Yeah. That hop didn't really get exponentially more residual and sticky and dank.
It kind of just maintained.
Yeah, it's a nice baseline of hey, I'm more than a Belgian, so be ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise super drinkable. It goes well with any kind of food. I think.
Yeah.
I'd be into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always remember, listener, when we're doing shows on the road, we probably haven't eaten dinner yet. So we're always going to be thinking about
Get some
food.
pizza.
Always thinking about food when we do this.
We are. But no, bottom line, good beer.
Yeah. Yep.
Cheers.
So no surprises so far, but we'll see what happens in segment 3, and we'll see what kind of beer Lauren has prepared for us for then. Ooh.
It's going to be good.
I'm trying to make it. Hold on, I'm trying to make it sound spookier because we're in September and we're at Necromancer. I'll make it spooky.
Oh,
We're
okay.
getting there. Soon.
Soon. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Lauren,
And I'm John.
and we host the Beard Owl podcast, the podcast where we talk about two of the greatest things in the world, beer and Weird Al.
And a bunch of other stuff.
That's right. Do you like nostalgia? Do you like sibling banter? Do you like beer? Do you like Weird Al? Are you human?
If you answered yes to any of those questions, give us a listen. Become one of our loyal commenters.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, it's just you because there's only one listener, I assume, that you're at work, listening on your headphones or in your car. Hopefully, we're brightening your day, whether it's at the beginning, the middle, or the end.
I want group listens to be a thing.
Right? Like an old-timey radio?
Yeah.
Everybody sit around, you know?
Everybody gathers around.
I'll get sponsored by Ovaltine. I don't give a shit. A crummy commercial? Yeah, we'll do that for the right amount of money. Guess what? Still at Necromancer. Guess what? Still drinking good beer. Guess what? Time to try another one.
Yes.
Lauren, would you like to describe this next beer that is coming to us?
For sure.
That was a lot more formal than I anticipated.
It was very formal. So this is a stick beer. Stick beer, it's one of our resurrections. Pretty much a stick beer is kind of like a double alt beer. So the brewers would make it for them, and it would be a little bit, obviously more boozy, and then a little bit hoppier as well. So yeah, I like it. For me, it's like an alt on speed. I'm pretty down with alt beers. They're pretty good. This one's a lot maltier, a lot hoppier. We're closer to 6% on this sucker, so
Nice.
a little boozier. I mean, not too boozy that you
Right.
can't like hang out at a bunch of brewers and at a party and
Right.
get wasted and make a fool out of yourself. But still,
None of us
boozier.
have ever done that before.
boozier than your run of the mill alt beer. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I had never brewed a stick beer before.
Okay.
I had made an alt beer before. Never brewed a stick beer before. As with many of these resurrections, it's just kind of like, throw the stuff at the wall and see if it sticks. This one, it stuck.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a good beer. I'd drink it. That's usually how I know if I like it. I'm like, I drink it. I'm like, all right, it doesn't suck.
I'm okay putting this out.
Yes. And taking a look at
It's a pretty beer.
it is a very pretty
Yeah,
beer.
it's like a rubyish brown hue.
It is. And it's got a nice white head on it. Some decent lacing on it as you go down. Because, by the way, I've started drinking this one already
Yes.
because I couldn't stop myself.
Right.
It's a good fall beer.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Sitting around a campfire with a couple of these, I'd be down. These and the ESB, honestly, just back and forth.
And then the bottle of whiskey for later
Oh
on.
yeah, chase it. Yeah, it turned out really well. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, this is a fantastic beer for this time of year. This is absolutely spot on.
So, a couple things I'm noticing.
Go on.
One, alt beer. Again, not a common style. But I at least featured one not too long ago. I believe it was on some sort of Zoom call.
Was it a Zoomisode?
It was a Zoomisode. But I had the Dancing Gnome alt beer that they put out.
I have had that, but I don't know that it was on the show. I think I just straight up drank it.
It's good beer.
Yeah.
It was.
Right.
Real good beer.
So I'm kind of comparing that one to this one. If I recall correctly, that one was like a 4.3%.
Yes.
So obviously you said this one's bigger. This is almost like in a way, like the way they did. I don't know. You don't party guile this in any way, do you? You don't
Nope.
you don't make the bigger stick beer and then put out the alt beer.
No,
for
but
runoffs.
you Might be able to do that,
Just a thought.
depending on how big your stick is going to be.
Yeah. But yeah, this one it's a lot bigger. It's a lot more robust than the Dancing Gnome one. I'm also getting like some notes of like spice. Is there
Hops.
hops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has it's Galena hops.
Okay.
But you're good for that. I use Galena also in the square dancing, Kentucky Common. It's a good,
All around
kind of old school American. Although I'm pretty sure Galena is German.
We won't tell.
I think it is. Either way, it's a good substitute for like Comet or something that you would use for an alt. I think also the spice, there is a little bit of chocolate rye in there.
Okay. Nice.
So I know this isn't a straightforward alt beer. It's a stick beer, but this compared to the alt that Dancing Gnome did, yeah, this is better.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
That's a bold claim, and
I stand by it.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you, but
I mean, there's less nicer terms I could use, but I would also agree.
Yeah, I'll say it.
Yeah.
It's better. It's better. That's all there is to it.
I feel like maybe the Dancing Gnome one's a little more bland, but maybe that's
This one's better.
right.
There you go.
it's supposed to be more robust for the brewers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
This
their
is the
secret
stuff
stash.
this essentially would be like brewers would make the alt beer and be like, yeah, consumers, you have that. We're drinking this, which would be the more robust. Being like, which I can get behind. I'd drink a few of these.
Yeah.
Really good fall beer again, and it does differ from that ESB where the ESB is more dry.
Yes.
This one does have that more robust kind of malty and then spicy flavors to it, and it doesn't necessarily finish dry, but it still maintains that good balance.
Yeah.
That nothing is really overpowering one way or the other. So
Yeah. If you're somebody that likes the classic styles, your pilsners and stuff like that, but you want something a little more body, a little more, something to zhuzh it up a little bit, yeah, grab this.
Or if you're like me who doesn't like pilsners, but
Wait,
likes,
what?
I don't. Sorry, I just don't.
No pilsners, not even a nice hoppy
They're
pilsner.
maybe a hoppy pilsner. I think we had one from Flying Machines out of North
down
Carolina.
Yes.
That that weird dry hop pilsner they kind of put out. I didn't hate that one because it covered up a lot of the what I don't care for is like the over crackery.
Pilsner malt.
Yeah, I just don't care for that.
Grassy, crackery.
Right.
Okay.
But like I like my ales and my lagers darker, and these have those nice caramel notes to them without being overly sweet. So yeah.
I don't like sweet beer. At least not in these styles.
If you're getting a sweet beer, you need to get a sweet beer that is just gonna.
It's gonna be a sweet bomb. I think. Balance
You're
is
searching
key.
dessert.
Yeah. I think for traditional styles, especially the maltier ones, there has to be some sort of balance. For me personally, because otherwise it gets a little bit cloying. And I always refer to them as sticky. There's a stickiness. Like this has a little bit of a stickiness to it, but it has enough hop and the little zip on the end, so it masks.
That's why it's a stick beer, not a sticky beer. It doesn't go all the way.
We are just full of puns on this beer.
You're like throwing me back to memories of like Wells Banana Bread and their toffee beers.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if they started out like trying to be stick beers, but then they just went too far. And they're like, no, it's dessert. Whatever.
Somebody get the marketing department in here.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Change this. We doinked it up. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd say out of the Resurrections, this is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Nice.
this is a good one. Bar
Good
none.
one. Yeah, come check it out. With that in mind, you just said the magic phrase, resurrection, and that is part of the theme down here at Necromancer, resurrecting old styles. But,
Not old style, but old styles.
We should just resurrect old style just to do it.
Yeah.
I do like old style.
Right?
As far as pilsners go, I do like old style.
Is it a Pilsner?
Is it?
Is it?
I don't know.
No one knows.
It's like, is it? Maybe that's why I do like it. It's not a pilsner. But every segment 3, we try to have a little bit of fun with a little bit of a game. And I came up with an idea for a game, and it's called Bring It Back from the Dead. And that's where I'm going to give you 2 choices of things that are more or less dead in the beer community. And it's your choice to bring back one of them.
Oh, nice.
So an example, but it's not a very good example because one of them is coming back. But an example would be Cooper's Lake versus Brutal Beer Fest.
Oh, definitely Brutal Beer Fest.
Yeah, it's an easy choice, but I can't tell you which one is coming back.
Oh, I could tell you which one's coming back.
You know which one's coming back.
Everyone should know which. Come on, guys.
If you follow Meg's Instagram, you'd know. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
I'm not excited or nothing.
yeah, right. But with that in mind, I do have some ones that aren't quite as easy.
Okay.
All right.
So
like games.
yeah, so the first one I want to start with though, and is would you rather have the resurrection of the ABV arms race from the mid-early 2000s, in which you had the Scottish breweries going at it, reaching their 70% icebox? Or would you rather the IBU arms race come back, in which I believe was ended by Dogfish Head when they put out a supposed 628 IBU IPA that was beyond undrinkable? But
You all know you can't taste past 100, right?
yes, we know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a tough one because the IBU one's fun. It reminds me of like all the time, the olden IPAs when it was like, we can fuck you up even more. You will taste nothing.
Just take a handful of hops and just shove it in your mouth.
Just shove it in your mouth. Just taste this. And you're like, I don't. But Icebox, also dope. And I remember because Brewdog did the whole thing where they took the taxidermy squirrel
Right.
Oh, yeah.
and shoved the bottle in it.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'd resurrect Icebox. Sorry.
Bring those back.
I'm sorry, squirrels.
Yeah, it's up to you, like what you get to compete in too, because like I said, it was mostly Scottish breweries that played in that ABV
yeah, but
race.
like I would just get, a keg and just stuff it in a deer or something. I think I could win.
That's very Pennsylvania of you.
Fuck yeah. I think we could win. We'll make a really strong icebox using the icy machines that we talked about earlier.
Yes.
And then I will stuff it into a deer.
Yes.
A 6-pointer.
Oh yeah. Not even 6 point. I've got one in my backyard that's like an 8 point. Let's get it. We'll grab that one. We'll stop eating my garden and we'll just
There you go.
Hey, you, come here a minute.
we'll sell it for an exorbitant amount of money, just like they sold their squirrels.
Yes. Adam, I feel like I don't have to ask you what your answer for this is. Like, I know.
Oh, we're going ABV.
Yeah.
All day, every day. Yeah, because I'm not going to drink the IBU bombs.
I know.
I'm not going to do
understand.
it.
I understand.
Now, that being said, there would be some interest in watching other people.
Well, there is a fun video from when Dogfish had made that 628 or whatever of it's Joe Latrulio and Ken Marino, the 2 comedians.
Yeah.
Apparently Sam Calzone is friends with them, and he was able to bring them and trick them into drinking that, and it just looks painful. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
So.
No, thank you. You know what? I don't need to have other people inflict pain for my entertainment. So I'll go for the ABV.
Sure. ABV is fun for everybody.
It's true.
I also would go ABV because
Interesting.
3-0.
Interesting.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. Right now, I forget who holds the record. The beer is called the Mystery of Beer, spelled with an I, not with a Y. And it's supposedly 72%, and then the brewery
72%?
Yeah, supposedly. And then the brewery went out of business, so it kind of defaults back down to the Snake Bite.
Who did the snake bite?
It's another Scottish brewery.
Okay, not Brewdog.
Right. The thing I don't
That's
like...
the important part.
Yeah, the important part, though, is none of them are American.
No.
We need an American brewery
That's right.
to take that 80%.
If only we knew somebody.
Yeah.
If only we knew somebody that was crazy enough to kill the deer in her backyard and stuff a keg in it. We will make this beer 80% or die trying.
80% icebox. Let's go.
Let's make
Let's
this
fucking
happen.
go. Let's fucking
Take
go.
it to, Antarctica or something. Keep freezing, damn it. Meanwhile, it won't even be a keg's worth of beer. It'll be,
Right.
this little eyedropper. I've done it.
Well, hey, when the Three Rivers Craft Beer Week comes around in 2022, you can sell little tiny eye drops.
Just one little taste. One for you.
The way they sell Utopia shots for $20 or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You can do an eye drop for 30.
Please try my 80%
Yeah.
distilled beverage.
Also,
Don't take two. You can't drive home.
right, exactly. All right, the next kind of showdown, as it were, is would you rather reinstate Reinheitsgebot or lessen beer laws back to previous years when it wasn't 21 and over, when you could have table beer for kids? Same way it kind of is in Europe. Would you rather us be...
Oh, totally.
Which way would you rather us be more like Europe?
I'd say that we could let children... I mean, I grew up in the 80s. Mm-hmm. My wife's going to get so mad when she listens to this because I keep saying we're going to do this to my kid. I grew up in the 80s, so I had a teething children.
Yes.
My dad put some scotch on it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Little
I was
whiskey on
also
it.
a Jack Daniels
Yeah.
baby.
You got...
I was a Jim Beam baby.
I'd be like, I'd be crying and stuff. I'd be like, come here, kid. And then, A, no more pain. B, go to sleep. So
Everybody
for me,
wins.
it's like a win-win. So I would definitely do that.
Okay, make it.
Instead of Reinheitsgebot, I get it.
Right.
We're good.
Right.
Good for you. Laws. But also, while I think tradition is great and we should do stuff, let's have some fun.
Have a little fun.
Have a little fun.
Let people who can serve in the military have a beer.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good for them.
Good for you. Did you have to do a lot of gun shooting today? Here's a beer. Chill out. Relax.
Did you have to go to a hellhole for a while?
Here's a couple of beers.
for
Here's a
dumb
case of
fucking
hams.
reasons?
Would you like a case of hams? You're like, yes, please. You're like, here you go.
Awesome. So another one, and it's not completely dead, but the idea is frosty mugs. You do not see those in breweries so much as you do maybe in Applebee's or a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Or Big Jim's.
So before we get too far into this,
Yeah.
screw Applebee's so much.
Applebee's get you drunk, though.
Yeah.
I haven't been to an Applebee's in like 10 years, guys.
The
if
latest
not more.
commercial that they have out, I know you don't, you've cut the cord.
I've never.
I have not. Through any at all sporting events in the last 3 weeks, they have this god-awful commercial that makes me want to take a Phillips head screwdriver, stab it into my eye, and then into my ear.
Fun.
I hate it so much.
They still frost mugs?
I wouldn't know. I haven't been in an Applebee's.
Literally, you haven't been in one in like 10 years.
Yeah. I'm just guessing if somebody did frost mugs, Applebee would frost mugs.
No,
Yeah.
have you guys been? All right, so I live in Greenfield. All right, and there's the Run,
Yeah.
and there's Big Jim's in the Run.
Okay.
They frost their cups. They're in a little freezer, and
Okay.
by freezer I mean the grodiest.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm such a germaphobe, and I still go there. I'm like, yes, give me the frosty mug. It's so gross. Like, I don't think the thing's been cleaned in like 30 years.
No.
But they still do it. They'll bring it out. Like, it's all like, I don't know if they've ever defrosted this thing. Like, it's all just covered in ice. And they bring me this mug, and you're like, I'm going to do it.
Well,
I'm going to do it.
I think the only other place you can get a frosted mug is a Long John Silver's A&W.
and I don't know that those exist anymore.
No, they still exist.
I know the one in
Aren't
Robinson
they
is
fast
gone.
food? You can
Yeah.
get, like, they give you a
Yeah.
frosted mug.
If you're crazy enough to go inside to eat.
Or Canadian, because
Right.
I got a lot of them
They
in
don't
Canada.
sell beer there, so it's like you get
No,
a
it's all
frosted
root beer. It's the root beer. They'll give you a
Yeah.
frosted root beer mug.
Right.
But so anyway, would you rather resurrect frosted mugs, or would you rather bring back the Randall?
The what?
The Randall.
What's the
Do you don't remember Randall's?
No.
That's where they hooked up that crazy contraption that had like an infusion of whatever fruit or hops that hooked up to the tap.
Oh God,
and
this is really hard.
It had to pass through from the tap to.
Nope. Everything about me is saying no to that more than it is saying no to me, because I go to big gyms and I drink from that frosted mug. I'm like, yes, please give me an Iron City in that frosted mug. I will do it. So I'm gonna go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yes, way before people just threw shit into their boil and into the whirlpool, there was the Randall, and they infused extra flavor onto whatever beer.
Knowing what I know about draft systems and about like casks and about, I'm gonna go with the frosted mug. At least that shit's frozen.
Fair enough.
I think I had to go frosted mugs as well for one simple reason.
How's that?
If you get something out of the Randall, it's gonna cost you like $7. Frosted mug of Iron City, $1.75.
Ayo.
$1.75.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's a $5 difference plus change.
Plus, it's just ice and maybe a little bit of germs compared to like fruit that's been sitting in a thing for a week.
Sure, rotting fruit is not great. However,
wait a minute.
I just feel like we haven't explored all the options the Randall has to offer.
I don't know. Everything about that says no to me.
What about bay leaves? Have we tried bay leaves in the Randall?
Nobody has tried bay leaves in the Randall.
Exactly, but how do we know?
You could just put it in there with a saison, see what happens.
Exactly. See,
see.
You can run a farmhouse with some
lavender
basil.
in it?
Yeah, lavender, basil. We too many people went goofy like sweet things and fruits. Not enough people tried herbs.
The herbs.
That is true. Still gotta go $1.75.
I'm with him. I'm with the frosted glass.
I'm going Randall. I gotta try everything.
Hey, split decisions. That's okay.
All right, so your one final thing to resurrect, and it's brewing methodology.
Uh-oh.
And this is it's got to be like a universal thing, so it's an either or. Would you rather bring back the old style of lagering beers in which you had to stick them in a cave in spring?
Okay.
Or would you rather go really ancient and remove hops?
Oh, lager in a cave, man. Lager in a cave all day. You just run that shit right in there. You guys know there's lager caves at Penn.
I did know that.
I didn't actually.
Yeah.
I did.
So if you go into the beer garden there and you look, there are 2 lager caves. They're all through the building. So when it used to be Eberhard and Ober, they had lagering caves.
Oh, okay.
And the brew house, little tidbit of history here. I'm just talking pinups so much during this podcast.
Hey, we'll drink their
You're
beer.
welcome, guys. Thank you.
That's 2 weeks in a row they're getting pressed.
So, when it was Eberhard and Ober, the brew house was actually the racking area. So they would actually like put all the beer into the big barrels there and run them in there. And then if you go into the beer garden, there's like the little tap bar area, and there's a little cave right there. The one right there, you can actually look in and see 100-year-old barrels.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Totally dope. How they got them in there, I have no idea. It's kind of like, it's like how the Egyptians built the pyramids.
Right.
No one fucking knows how they lifted all that shit, but they did. So, it's pretty dope that they did that. Genius. Germans. They knew what they were doing with the beer.
Too true.
I would totally just stick it in a cave.
Yeah, we're going full Mars in here.
Okay.
No doubt.
Märzen?
The Märzen.
I mean, okay. I'm kind of surprised by that. That you're not just throwing all the hops away.
No, because if I had to throw all the hops away, that means I had to throw away Fuggle.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I can't do that to myself or the world, for that matter.
Cannot deny the world of Fuggle.
That's right. Everybody needs to live that Fug life once in a while.
I 3 for 3 again though. Go back to cave lagering.
Absolutely.
Give something for the people to look at the wampum mines.
Excellent temperature control.
Yeah. Shit.
It's like you can go and visit all the barrels.
I'm making investment phone calls tomorrow.
I'm just gonna have Ben. We have that whole hill right there.
Yeah. Dig it out.
Dig it out.
Yeah.
Dig it out.
Dig it out. We'll make some lagers in there, and like 6 years, I'll be like, look, lager. Yeah,
Remember when we did this? No? Well, guess what? It's ready.
it's ready.
How much is a backhoe rental?
Now we just need to get it out.
Man. Yeah. Yeah, we need to bring back cave lagering.
Fair enough.
Let's make that happen.
Okay, well, tell somebody who has money, not me.
Oh, okay. Or a backhoe.
Sure. I also don't have a backhoe.
Well, then what the hell good are you?
I know how to run the board.
Shit.
Yeah.
He's right.
They do the edits. All right. Well, yeah, that's kind of how you play Bring It Back from the Dead. Mm-hmm. Probably the only game we'll ever play
You don't know that.
here at Necromancer.
There you
I
go.
mean,
That's right.
we'll come back to Necromancer, play it again. I don't know if we'll ever play. We have to find other dead-themed breweries to play the game at.
I don't know if there are any others.
Yeah, well, you got to look. Got to look. I'm just saying.
No, I'm going to stop at Necromancer. I'm good with that.
All right. With that, though, let's come back to the stick beer that we're drinking.
Yes. What was the name of this again? I'm sorry.
Stick together.
Stick Together. Thank you. Turns out, good beer.
Doesn't
Yes.
suck.
It does not suck. 0% suckage here.
Yeah.
Doesn't suck.
Does not suck. I enjoyed it. It seemed to build on itself with like more flavor coming in on the back end, with like a little more of that hop spice and
Yes.
maybe rye is what I'm getting.
So on the Belgian, on the hoppy Belgian, I talked about if you're trying to get people to go over to the hoppy side, that's a good beer to use. This is a good beer to use to try to get people away from macros. This is a good beer to kind of introduce people to the greater and grander world that is craft beer. I think there is a lot of pull from the macro over to this, and I think they would appreciate this, and this would open some doors.
Right, because this is still in that realm of beer-flavored beer.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of those people still have that kind of upturned nose that like, I don't want no fruit in my beer. I don't want no coffee. I don't get it. I don't want it. But like this is, you know, it's basic flavors and it's still probably pretty close to Reinheitsgebot.
Correct.
As close as you can get.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's definitely going to drag people over to this side.
And I don't know that it would drag people over to this side. I think it would welcome them to this side.
It's 2021. If you don't know what beer has to offer, like then it's got to be like a little bit of a kicking and screaming, you know.
A little bit, but I think you kind of have to look at the folks that are 21, 22.
Oh yeah, new.
That have not had the brewery experiences
True.
due to the world exploding.
Okay, fair enough.
This is the kind of beer, because when you're 21, 22, and you haven't had that opportunity to go into breweries and figure it out for yourself, you're just going to go to the name that you know. Thank you, marketing gurus.
Fair enough. You also still have to trick that crowd to not drink Four Loko as well. But
Or trick them to drink all the Four Loko.
don't drink it all. I need some.
I've never had a Four Loko yet.
Neither have I.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. Don't judge me.
Oh, split decision.
No, I just it hasn't happened yet.
Don't
It'll
judge me.
happen at some point, I'm sure.
Not hating, just saying.
Maybe start with the Steel Reserve Alloy series instead.
Ease into it.
Yeah, those are only 8%, whereas Four Loko is 14 sometimes.
It's 14%.
Sometimes.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
The hemp one was terrible.
Yeah, I could have told you that one. I didn't even drink it.
I had to learn for myself.
Gotta try it once.
Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah, got to try all the flavors.
Hemp.
All right, with that though, we can go to the podium, which is where we rank all the beers that we had tonight: bronze,
shit.
silver, and gold. And Lauren, you're obviously going to go last because they're all your babies.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Yes. Adam, though, can you go first?
I don't know that I can.
Okay.
Because I mean, I know what my gold is. It's the bronze and silver.
Right.
I'll be honest.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. I will go then.
Okay.
My bronze, I'm going to give to this stick beer.
Okay.
It is really hard, like you're saying,
Yeah.
as far as just because they're all good and damn it. But yeah, no, I'm sticking with my guns. It's the stick beer is
Okay.
bronze.
All right. Go with your gut.
It's really drinkable. It's nice and flavorful. It's robust. It did kind of build on itself a little bit too much. Just a little bit too much spice at the end. But yeah, overall, it's still just a really good beer. So, but silver, the ESB. The ESB is like a complete package. It has a nice bitterness at the end. It's dry. It's drinkable. I could probably put down a bunch of those without knowing that I was. That's the other thing. I feel like the stick beer, I know that I'm getting kind of heavy. Like it's a little bit heavier, it's a little bit thicker. So I know I'm just like, putting down something bigger, even though it is only 6%. But that's why the gold goes to the Belgian IPA.
Sneak attack.
Yeah, total sneak attack. It's super smooth drinking. The hops don't overpower the Belgian flavors that you get. And it is super smooth. It's super refreshing. The other two beers are very much fall beers, winter beers, coming out thaw beers. The Belgian IPA, though, I feel like is an all-time drinker, and that 7% is sneaky as hell.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it just has a wonderful play of different flavors from the actual malt to the hop to the yeast. So, yeah, I enjoyed that one the most.
You didn't help.
I know.
You didn't help at all. But, all right. I think I have my order. And there are no bad ones on this list, bar none. I've said it before, I think I had to say it again. This is going to come down to personal preference. I think the Belgian's going to have to go in the bronze medal position. Boo. You can boo all you want.
I just did.
I know, I heard. But I think I'm going to have to put the Belgian IPA in the bronze medal position. It is a very well-crafted beer. For my hop-head friends and those that are more hop-centric, I would absolutely recommend this beer to them. But for me, compared to the other two, if I had the three of them lined up in front of me, that would be my third choice. Personal preference. Damn it. It gets really tough. Okay, now, in the silver medal position, by a squeaker, I think I have to put the ESB by just a little bit. It's a good beer. It's a very versatile beer as well. I can think of several situations where I could drink it. Actually, I can't think of many situations where I wouldn't drink it. But I simply think that the stick beer is just a little bit more than the ESB. It's just more versatile. It's got a little bit more maltiness to it. It's a little more drinkable. Yes, it does have a little bit of that heaviness to it, but of the three, I enjoyed that the most.
Okay.
I enjoyed that heaviness because it kind of gave you pause. Yes, like you were talking about with the Belgian IPA, it had that sneakiness to it. I prefer not to have that sneakiness because there's a good chance I'm going to be operating a heavy motor vehicle later on. So I think that heaviness will give the drinker a little bit of caution.
Okay.
So for that, I got to go with the stick beer in the gold medal position.
All right. Lauren, it's your turn.
Oh, geez.
Good luck.
Thanks. It's always tough when you make the beers. So can I go gold to bronze?
Sure.
Gold's definitely going to be ESB for me. The only reason is because it's more drinkable, I think, than the other two. Like, I can crush a few more. If I'm going to drink a lot of beer, I think it's going to be something that's a little crispier. It's not going to be as flavorful. Plus, I'm really proud of that ESB. I think it's spot on the style. The other two, it's hard to pick a
Welcome
winner.
to our crisis.
I know, man. It's like, it just kind of depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Because, if I want something a little bit crispier, a little less malty, then I would pick the Belgian. Yeah, I think I'm going to do Belgian in silver and the stick in bronze.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always just say you're putting the Belgian in silver because it helped you get to the dance. You know, it was your homebrew
Well, that's
winner.
the other thing. It's just a sentimental thing. With
That's
that
fair.
Belgian.
That's
I'm like,
fair.
I want to put you first, honey, but I can't because I really like that ESB. No, that was it has evolved, but it still was one of the beers I meddled on it very early on. So it's a good beer. And yeah, I mean, if I'm thinking about how many beers I can have in a night of the same beer and not get tired, it would probably be the Belgian in silver rather than the stick. I think I can have 2 sticks and be like, okay, malt, I'm done. Yeah.
Right on. Oh, well, with that, just continue to carry on any kind of social media you want to plug, whether it's your personal or Necromancers or Pittsburgh Brewery Diversity Council, any events you want to plug coming up, just floor is yours.
All 3. So yeah, look out for Mindful's release for the She Knows beer. We have Oktoberfest, Brave Noise, and Schwarztag. Look up Necromancer Brewing on Instagram. If you want to follow me personally, it's honestly like a bunch of beer stuff and dog stuff, and I also fence. So it's fencing.
We're gonna talk about that after the show.
We can. Yeah, I
sounds
do.
dope as hell.
I do longsword fencing.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds awesome.
It's literally a longsword, like they used to German longsword fencing. Anyways, off topic. You can follow me. It's little LOPGH at Instagram. So yeah.
right on.
Cool. And if you want to find us, all you have to do is search Hop Nation USA, and that'll get you Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you want to listen to brand new episodes of the Hop Nation USA podcast every Friday, as you should, then search Hop Nation USA on your favorite podcatcher like Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We're on everything that starts in pod and ends in cast. And if you're on any of those platforms, leave a 5-star review because
We are a 6 resurrected recipes show, but they only let us use 5.
and that's a bigger crime than none of us making Undertaker references.
Oh,
this
damn it.
episode. Yeah. Whamp, whamp.
Well, I can only be mad at myself.
Yes. Oh, well. But thanks again, Lauren, for
Thank you
having
guys
us in
so
your
much.
space.
Thank you.
Sharing your beer with us, telling us
course.
your story. It's a good time had by all.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Awesome. Yeah. Come
Yeah,
back.
for sure.
Hang out.
But we'll also be back next week for you, listener. And I can say our pints will be full.
Snap.
Snap.
We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.
He would have to explain to me mid-punch that his air conditioner was broken.